Happy Valentine's Day. It's Friday.
You know,
Amazing.
Valentine's Day, as much as I participated in, and as much as my name for the last 31 years has been Deborah Joy Hart, it is uh, it's not even in the top 10 holidays.
It's not a holiday.
I, that's right. It's a Hallmark day.
Although it is here because
There's,
our schools have taken it to make it President's Day extended weekend, and the kids are off on
oh,
Friday and Monday, and some of them are off on Friday and all next week for President's Week.
oh, wow.
And I'm feeling very ripped off. I'm grieving the loss of holiday that they did not give us when we were kids. I
That's
I
right.
think it's a horrible idea. We should get our holidays back. I need at least 12 years worth of weeks off.
And sorry, I just threw my phone across the room to land on the couch.
All
So it's
right.
better reception here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Otherwise it messes. I understand we did not get that either. Although if I threw up enough from all the cookies, I wasn't at school the next day.
I had kids saying, "How come we don't get to go to school on Valentine's Day?" And I said, I'm guessing this is the school's way of not having to deal with Valentine's Day. There's nobody getting shorted a card because nobody's getting a card because school is closed.
you know, I did love making those boxes, but I didn't
Right?
like what happened afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
the waiting to see if you were gonna get them or not, and my poor oldest grandson asked someone to be his Valentine, and the child said no, and his little heart just got
Oh,
yeah,
oh, yeah.
not
Yeah.
nice.
No,
Not
no.
nice at all.
And even while, so I usually buy Valentine's the year before when they go on
Mhm,
sale, right? Because there's
mhm.
more and more of them. And then I also use Valentine's during the whole year because I know I'm missing some holidays. So when I write a thank you note, I throw in a Valentine, you
Mhm.
know. So I, I still have anxiety, even sending them to my grandkids. And this year I didn't make anything. I've been ill for a few days, and I we bought Reese's peanut butter cup miniatures in a heart shape, whatever,
Mhm.
and my husband will be delivering those, hanging them on the doors outside. It's not like it's going to melt. And
Not there.
no, 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 not here, not this week. So, and
Mm-mm.
it's supposed to snow later. So,
Oh my goodness.
again,
Wow. We're getting
yeah.
snow on the mountains, and, it hasn't stopped raining in 24 hours.
I was going to ask you, how are
And,
the
we need Seattle to come get their weather. It
ha,
got lost, it fell down, and it needs to go home.
it
Enough.
I've heard of there's landslides happening
Yeah, we have burn
because of this.
scars. Yeah, so
Uh,
the burn scars are all flooding, and there's
um,
water, and we need the rain, but we need it slow and in little bits, not the whole 6 months in a day. That
right,
never works out well,
right.
and it's not today, but that's okay.
I want to give a shout out to the first Valentine's Day without their partners because they died
Absolutely.
this year, and I have several friends that's what's going on, and it's the year of firsts, and
It
it's
is.
it's
We have several in my dementia group who are having first Valentine's Day without partners or parents, and it really is hard.
it
And
really
even though it's a
is
manufactured day from a card company that wants to sell cards, it's
right.
still a day that is out there everywhere. I It was driving rain this morning, and there were people covered in plastic selling flowers underneath easy ups this morning.
Right.
Right? You can't drive down the street without it being Valentine's Day.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a hard day for those who are experiencing it the first time. It's a day where people end up taking flowers they would have brought home to cemeteries or to places that matter, or maybe buying themselves flowers and
Right.
celebrating that they had all that love all that time. We have people
Hmm.
who are, it's their first year without their pet. It's also Zorro's birthday, so shout out to little Zorro. It is his
Oh,
15th
happy
birthday
birthday,
today.
Zorro.
He's getting himself groomed today, and I drove him to the groomer. The last time we had him in the car, we were taking him home from his mom giving him to us. And so I put him in the car and I thought he'd be anxious, and instead he seemed like he was anticipating. And I didn't think about it till we got there and he was looking around, and then he didn't see what he was looking for and he just went.
Oh,
So he's getting pretty, but it is his first Valentine without his mama too, and it's her first Valentine without her Zorro. Yeah, it's this is one of
yeah,
those that, like every other big day, when we're missing someone, we're missing someone.
absolutely. Yeah, I don't even have any more comebacks about it. It's just when we get done, I'll write a couple other people and say
Yeah,
I'm thinking about you today.
it's a
And
heavy day.
it
Mhm.
is, it is.
Mhm.
It's interesting. Daryl knows how I have felt about this particular holiday since while we were dating, and but the other day he said, "Do you want to go out? Not on Valentine's Day, but on Thursday evening." And I just sort of looked at him and I go, "Are you asking me out on a date?" And he goes, "I guess I am." Translation, well, I wasn't thinking of it that way, but since you mentioned it, you
Shout
know.
out to those who've been married for forever who are still dating.
So we did go out. Now, of course, I encouraged him highly to make a reservation. He goes, "It's a Thursday night. Who's going to be out?" I said, "Would you call anyway?" And he said, "Okay." And we got there, boom, jam packed. And just because of certain procedures coming up and everything, I
Mhm.
thought I would have a food talk with a man who's not a foodie.
Right?
And, in your memory, food that is associated with occasions is great for people who have dementia or Alzheimer's to go through those things, even if your hubby isn't there, and you can still ask yourself what food occasions, although um, some people aren't can't even eat. I have one friend that had cancer of the esophagus and stuff, so she hasn't eaten food in like 15 years,
Right.
but she still can talk about it and recipes, and she cooks and all these other things. And it's like, how do you make your way through loss, going through memories? And like, you can be so overwhelmed, you can't even think of a question to ask yourself to not be overwhelmed. Does that make sense?
It does, and it reminds me of a conversation I had with
Oh,
somebody yesterday who's, are
yeah.
you there? Who's originally from Eastern Europe,
Yeah, I'm here.
and in fact is losing their memory, which is why I'm involved. And we had the best conversation about foods from childhood, and how they were made, and we were able to bring forth memories of grandparents long since lost, for
Mhm.
adult children who were in the room. and great grandparents and memories of Warsaw and things like that. And I managed to extricate a promise of a homemade pierogi arriving at some point in my office because, yeah, I am that person. Yeah, you can bring those memories forward, and
Hmm.
there's still the loss of culture and country and place and people and generations, but there's the food. And in that case, it was pierogies. I even say it correctly now. I got schooled on that too.
Say it again. Pierogi?
Pierogies.
Pierogis.
Yeah, got to get that right.
Yeah, pierogis.
Right.
Yes, yes. I'm attached to that sound. Ask
Hmm.
Steve, who usually listens. It's
Right.
challah bread. I don't usually freak out too often if people mispronounce words, but if they say
Mhm.
challah over challah,
Oh my
I'm a
God.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
a
you're out of here. Speaking of Steve, he connects every Friday with his Jewish roots, and he makes the bread. And in November, his bar mitzvah is coming up, so he is fully claiming his identity after the loss of so much of his life.
right.
He's taking that into his senior years, which and he's got several others joining him in doing it. There's so many ways we can take loss and turn it into something good
Mm-hmm.
while still mourning the loss. And his grandfather was, in fact, a scholar who published books. So he's got the history. He's just now finally attaching to it,
I love it. I love it.
which
You
is
know,
amazing.
I have what I affectionately call our dead people and dead cat cabinet.
Hmm.
And there are no dead people in it, but there are dead cat parts in there, right?
Hmm.
And I have memories of Daryl's family and my family, his mother and father and grandparents. And I have pictures also of my mother, father, and grandparents.
Hmm.
And one of the things I'm really happy to have are it was my grandfather's, I think it's called tullet. And
Yes.
you wrap it around, it's in a bag,
Hmm.
and you put it on your wrists and here
Hmm.
on your head. And
For saying prayers. Yes.
for saying prayers. Yes,
Hmm.
yes. I don't have a talis, but I have the talit. And, you
I,
know, go ahead.
I was at an estate sale not too long ago for a family that I knew had belonged to our local temple, and the tallet was up for sale. And it just about broke my heart that there was nobody to leave it to, but
Right,
they didn't have children and no family had survived them. And I
right,
thought, "Oh my gosh, after all the years of prayers and having been given that as a 13-year-old,
right, right.
there was nobody to leave it to 75 years later." And
Yeah,
that's a loss too, and it's my loss, and I just knew of them, but wha
right.
just there are times that things should be able to be handed down.
Yes. Or even if you have no children of your own, if you have any cousins, or you have,
Mhm,
I have found that I have given away parts of my family stuff to other people that
mhm,
appreciated that. I
right.
have, to date, I have, except for, fun earrings and stuff. By the way, I have rainbow
I
hearts
noticed
on
those
today.
today, yes.
Yes, I have those. But I, all my jewelry except for two rings that I'm wearing, all the lot of the jewelry that I built with part of my mom's jewelry or I bought or something
Mhm,
is all given away
yeah,
already. So,
we my dad made jewelry. We went out rock hounding as kids, And
Wow.
then he cut the stones with the saw and then did the lapidary and created the jewelry for them. And so part of what we distributed after my mom's death was the remainder of my dad's collection of bolo slides because he was
Yes.
absolutely allergic to wearing a regular tie. He had one,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
one tie
Yes.
that only went to funerals, along with the one funeral suit, because everyone should have a funeral suit. And we should do a show about those. And then the jewelry that he created, which was distributed across family and friends.
Right.
And those went to people who remember my dad going out and finding the rocks, right?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of connection that we can create when we give things to people who knew our loved ones or knew of our loved ones or know us.
Hmm.
And those stories go with.
And the stories go with my my high school bestie, Judy. Her mom, when her mom was alive, her mom in high school would say, "Look it, aim to be two things: uh, mature and flexible. Just remember those two things." So Judy and I have made T-shirts and that said flexible and mature. And I had, oh, Deb Reckmeyer came on. Yeah, sorry for being
Yeah.
distracted, but thinking of you, Deb, and she's recovering from surgery and just
Oh,
sending out good juju to you. And missing those I have loved and lost, especially my parents, and
me
memories and items. And Deb gave me something to remember her by because she left Illinois. But back to what I was saying, one year I think I made an engraved mug for a pewter mug for Judy that said, "Always be flexible and mature." And my daughter at 42 remembers us saying it so often that she too goes, "Mom, in this situation, I actually was flexible and mature.
I
I
love
did."
that.
And so, underneath that item in Judy's case, when Judy dies, is a piece of paper, goes to Kate, my daughter's last name. So, yeah, interesting.
Love
Hey?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we have the cabinet in our living room, and
Mm-hmm.
we have one that's actually just occupied by the ashes of all of the lost pets, over the years, the ones who we
Yeah.
didn't that aren't buried in yards across the country. Um, and then we have the china hutch, which has, the things that remind us of folks, and, you gotta have those things, and I agree with paring things down. I don't agree with getting rid of the things that are the most tangible, connected, have been hand down generation to generation. Those need to be handled with care, and the story needs to be shared.
And the story needs to be shared. Yeah,
Mhm.
that goes along with that. So, I don't know what Kate'll do in the future with that mug because I won't be here.
She's gonna
But
put flowers in it and put it on her kitchen table.
I hope so. And then
Yeah.
when she's gone in the future, who
Mhm.
will she pass that to? And so that's also part of it. Please pass down these words of wisdom. Maybe she'll give it to a niece who's 20 years younger than her,
Mhm.
right? A
Right,
cousin, a
right.
cousin. Yeah.
We have
So,
a mug in our in our china hutch. It's just a simple mug. Somebody made it by hand, and it
mhm.
says Pat J with a blue heart, our friend. And it was made for my Aunt Pat, who died in her 50s, from her nursing students when she was teaching in Tennessee. And that stays on. And very few people remember my Aunt Pat anymore, but my kids will. And so that will be handed
Yeah.
down
Yeah,
because it needs
exactly.
to. It's just little, it's not going to take up much space, but
Right.
somebody needs to hang on to it, right? Plus
When
the shoe store. My family owned a shoe store in Illinois, so we have the shoe store mug too.
do you
Because
know
Carlotta,
my family in Chicago area own shoe stores? Isn't
oh my
that
goodness.
interesting?
Yes,
We never shared that before.
no.
Wow. We're going to have to, I don't even remember the names of the shoe stores, but I remember the relatives. So that would be interesting,
I
Jill.
don't
Well,
remember the relatives, but I have the name.
yes, they very good, very good.
Mhm.
Um, so a couple other things. We had a really great group, Coffee Cake and Greek, this week,
Uh-huh.
and, and we talked a lot about, do you personally share grief online? What do you feel about sharing grief online? And I'm distracted. I see
And
Steve.
Steve is sharing his grief online because he's missing his husband.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I think
And
grief should be shared online. What about you?
I I do too. I and this was my follow-up question. Do you ever feel uncomfortable when people talk about their lost childhoods online and they keep using that as, well, I can't be this because I lost this. So people, yes, memories, yes. And then I ask them, do you ever get tired of hearing about people's lost childhoods, or they were victims of this or that? So it's like there's levels of
Yes.
sharing grief. Now, anybody that shares a loss of whoever, that either pet or um, or human around them, I don't mind them sharing as long as they have to.
Hmm.
That's I don't have any qualms about it. Um, I have qualms when other people say, "Aren't you over this yet?"
Yeah,
And
that's not a statement that neither
right.
one of us partake in.
Yeah. Do you have to keep saying this over and over? When it is an immediate trauma, like, I get it. And
Hmm.
maybe you have to recognize, a trauma from, like, it's an anniversary date for you of,
Hmm.
one woman said it was 4 years ago during COVID that um, I got the news my husband died. So Valentine's Day always comes with an extra burden
Right.
for this person. Um, it was 4 years ago that somebody else died. Whatever the case is, I I do I am uncomfortable when people's childhoods, except for trauma dates, when they use trauma for, I don't know what the word is, but I don't, almost for making excuses for
When
not
they
grieving.
stay in victimhood
They stay in
and when
victim.
they use it for comparison to somebody else's loss.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's why when I'm sharing it's an anniversary of someone dying, I
Mm,
also add to it, I'm not sad right now. I'm just honoring that it's this date and I'm taking a moment out and I want to say their name because that helps keep their memory alive for me. I
mhm,
don't need sympathy right now. I just
mhm.
I just want to put it out there that it's that day and that I remember them, right?
Yeah, this year, as in 2025, I heard a date and I go, I know that date. I know that date. This was the first time in 23 years, I think. No, 28 years. 1998, when my mom died. How
Mhm.
many years is that? Oh, that's 27. or I'll
Mhm.
be 28. Um, that I it hit me March 13th is when she died. And I looked at that date for a calendar or something and I go, I know that date, but what happened then? And I couldn't remember. That's like almost like, oh my gosh, that was like an instantaneous loss. This is the first time
That
I
I'm not
didn't.
taking that date to be important, and I gotta figure it out.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah. It was very interesting. And,
mhm.
it just, I'm sure others feel that way too. Like it's an
Yeah, there is
important,
that moment when you forget that it's that date, but it's that date, and there's something there, and yeah. No, that
yeah.
I've had those moments too.
And when my dad died, I think it was about 25 years later, or 20, yeah, about 25 years later, I might have forgotten. Like I went through the time when he died, which was March 28th,
Mhm,
and just, it was just really odd, you know?
mhm.
Yeah.
It is, it is. We, we had moments with my mom where she absolutely latched on to my dad dying on December 16th when he died on December 18th. And so for the last 5 years of her life or so, there were two dates that dad died. And then the last year, there wasn't even a recognition that dad died. And
Mm-hmm.
so you have those moments too as well where when some other when the next generation doesn't recognize that's a date. Right? My
Right.
kids know that their moms died, but it's not an instantaneous moment for them where that date is still an instantaneous thing for me. And
Right.
I have to remind myself this is mine. They handle it differently. So it's that
Right.
every loss is different for all of us. But
Right.
when we get further away from it, the moment of the loss is a
Yeah.
little different. Mhm.
Yeah. It's interesting. And I just want to remind people that even if you like can't remember the date, all of a sudden, maybe for a couple days before a date and a couple days afterwards, you might not be feeling that's not right. Something isn't right here. And
Mhm.
like a low level anxiety, or you may forget stuff, even if it's a trauma date, not a date where someone died, but maybe something happened to you. It was the weirdest thing for years. August 10th, I'd forget about it, but August 10th was when I had a car wreck. And for years afterwards, there was something, it took me a while to figure it out, you
Right.
know?
Mhm.
Yeah. And this was in the 90s, early 90s.
Right. Right. For the longest time, my birthday was the day that I sold the family home in Florida, and in the middle of a hurricane. But it was the combination, and you have to sort of extricate things from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Today,
Mm-hmm.
those who are seeing Valentines and hearts and flowers and purple and pink, and I don't know where purple and pink came from because clearly it should be blue, even though Deb does go for the pink. Um, right? See, there we are. There's the color.
I think, is that it? Can you see it?
The other side. She's got pink in the back. I got blue in the front
Yeah.
because it doesn't have happiness comes in all colors, folks.
Yes, that's
We
right.
love that rainbow around here. So we can remember that we are missing someone. We can still give ourselves a moment to have fun with the Valentine's holiday if we choose to. We can remember how those who died remembered this day. I got to tell you, my dad, who was like Mr. Chemist and Mr. Southern, and kind of, he was cuddly, but he was still that scientist. He went to the card shop in our town every single year and bought the most outrageous Valentine card. And my mom saved every single one of them. So we have cards from the 2 years they dated and the 50 years they were married. He never
Oh,
missed a Valentine's.
wow.
Right? And he was known for that because people would watch him at the store buying them. All their friends knew it. That's what I will remember about Valentine's is the mushy Harry giving Margaret her card and buying her the orchid to wear, even though nobody wears orchids anymore.
Right.
So we can
Oh,
remember them, and Steve, you can remember Sean, and
Deborah can
Deborah
remember.
can remember mom, right? Mom and dad, or just mom?
The other Deborah.
Oh, the
Deborah.
other Deborah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And you
So
can
for
remember
me,
all of your
I
people. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And if you need a blanket fort today, I say do it.
Do you know what they have now? I have to just put this out there. They have weighted stuffed animals. Instead of weighted blankets, you can get a weighted stuffed animal. And you can hold it on your chest and it puts just the right pressure.
Oh,
Right? Does that just make everyone go, "Oh, I could do that."
oh,
Right? Because we all think about that pulling in and holding. You can
yes,
have a weighted stuffy sitting on your chest holding you.
yes, yes.
So
So,
let that be your Valentine. Shall we do our yeah?
our what?
Everybody hands out,
Oh, that's
hands
right.
out,
Yes,
hands
like this,
in,
like
bring it
this,
in, bring it up.
and breathe in and out. I'm okay, and you're okay.
And we carry them with us, and they're still here, and we can go and enjoy this day and still miss them, right?
Right.
Have a wonderful Shabbat for those who are Friday
Celebrate
Shabbats. A beautiful holiday for those of you who are taking President's Day off. And enjoy your weekend, everybody.
and buy chocolate on sale in the next 2 days.
Chocolates on sale. Here we go. Headed to C's on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
Bye,
Bye
everybody.
bye.
Oh, wait. One last
What?
thing.
Oh, look at Zorro.
Doro's here to say happy Valentine's Day to everybody and
Oh,
happy birthday. Okay. Bye,
okay.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.